Life transitions often begin with an uncomfortable feeling that your current circumstances no longer match who you're becoming. This sense of outgrowing familiar patterns represents one of the most common experiences in human development, yet it frequently feels isolating because we rarely discuss these internal shifts openly. You're here engaging with these ideas because something in your life feels ready to change. This timing isn't mystical. It reflects the natural human tendency to seek information and support when we're psychologically prepared for growth. Understanding this process through evidence-based frameworks can help you navigate change more consciously and effectively. Personal growth occurs through predictable psychological mechanisms that researchers have studied extensively. Rather than mysterious transformations, these changes follow patterns that make sense when you understand how human development works throughout the lifespan. The discomfort you might be feeling about your current life circumstances reflects what psychologists call cognitive dissonance, the mental tension that occurs when your values, goals, or sense of self conflicts with your current situation. This discomfort, while unpleasant, serves as motivation for positive change. Many people experience periods where their previous goals, relationships, or lifestyle choices feel less meaningful or satisfying. This often indicates that your personal values or priorities have evolved, creating misalignment between who you're becoming and how you're currently living. Research shows this is a normal part of adult development rather than a crisis requiring dramatic intervention. The feeling of not recognizing yourself in your own thoughts or reactions often accompanies significant growth periods. Developmental psychologists explain this as identity development, the ongoing process of refining your sense of self based on new experiences, insights, and changing circumstances. However, it's important to distinguish between healthy identity evolution and concerning symptoms that might indicate underlying mental health issues. Healthy change typically involves gradual shifts in priorities and perspectives while maintaining your sense of continuity and connection to reality. If you're experiencing sudden, dramatic personality changes, memory problems, or feeling disconnected from reality, consulting with a mental health professional would be appropriate. The concept of ego death from certain spiritual traditions can be helpful metaphorically, but requires careful understanding. In psychological terms, this often refers to releasing rigid self-concepts that limit growth. However, healthy development doesn't require dissolving your personality or losing your sense of self. Instead, it involves developing a more flexible, authentic relationship with your identity. Authentic personal growth involves integrating new aspects of yourself rather than replacing your entire identity. This process allows for significant change while maintaining psychological stability and continuity. You remain fundamentally yourself while expanding your capabilities, perspectives, and ways of being in the world. The feeling that your old life belongs to someone else reflects the natural psychological process of meaning-making as you develop. Your brain continuously updates your self-concept based on new experiences and insights. Past versions of yourself can feel foreign not because you've become a different person, but because you've gained new perspectives that reframe previous experiences. This process becomes healthier when approached with self-compassion rather than judgment. Instead of viewing your past self critically, you can appreciate the journey that brought you to your current understanding, while recognizing that continued growth is natural and desirable. Sleep and dream patterns often change during periods of significant personal development. This occurs because your brain is processing new information and integrating changed perspectives. While some people report particularly vivid dreams during growth periods, dramatic claims about receiving downloads or being worked on by invisible forces likely reflect the normal processing of psychological change rather than supernatural intervention. The key to navigating these experiences healthily involves distinguishing between metaphorical descriptions of internal processes and literal beliefs about external forces controlling your development. Understanding your growth through psychological frameworks provides practical guidance without encouraging potentially concerning disconnection from reality. Your relationships naturally evolve as you develop because authentic connections require some level of mutual compatibility in values, interests, and communication styles. As you change, some relationships may deepen while others naturally fade. This represents normal social development rather than evidence of cosmic selection or special spiritual status. Healthy relationship changes occur gradually and with awareness of how your evolution affects others. If you find yourself suddenly cutting off multiple relationships or feeling completely alienated from previous social connections, this might indicate the need for professional support to ensure you're navigating change in balanced ways. The enhanced creativity and problem-solving abilities that sometimes accompany personal growth periods reflect increased self-confidence, reduced anxiety, and clearer thinking rather than access to supernatural intelligence sources. When you're no longer expending mental energy maintaining internal conflicts or limiting beliefs, more cognitive resources become available for creative expression. This psychological principle explains why people often discover new talents or interests during growth periods. They're not accessing cosmic downloads, but rather allowing previously suppressed aspects of themselves to emerge once internal barriers are reduced. Physical changes that accompany psychological growth typically result from reduced stress, improved self-care, and increased confidence rather than cellular reorganization or energy field modifications. When people feel more aligned with their authentic selves, they often make healthier choices and experience less chronic tension. However, significant physical changes should be evaluated medically rather than attributed solely to spiritual transformation. While psychological well-being certainly affects physical health, dramatic physical symptoms warrant professional assessment to rule out underlying medical conditions. The experience of thoughts feeling foreign or observing your mental process from a detached perspective can reflect healthy metacognitive development, increased awareness of your own thinking patterns. This psychological skill allows you to respond more consciously rather than reacting automatically to every thought or emotion. However, extreme detachment from your thoughts, persistent feelings of unreality, or consistent inability to relate to your own mental processes might indicate dissociation, which can be a symptom of trauma or other mental health conditions requiring professional attention. Developing a balanced relationship with your thoughts involves recognizing them as mental events rather than absolute truths while maintaining your sense of personal agency and connection to your experience. Healthy growth enhances your relationship with your mind rather than creating disconnection from it. The concept of surrendering to transformation makes more sense psychologically as accepting rather than resisting natural change processes. This doesn't mean passively allowing anything to happen, but rather working consciously with your development instead of fighting against it due to fear or attachment to familiar patterns. Healthy surrender involves maintaining your critical thinking abilities and personal boundaries while remaining open to growth opportunities. It doesn't require abandoning your judgment or accepting everything that presents itself as positive change. The integration period following significant personal development involves practicing new ways of being until they become natural rather than effortful. This process requires patience since lasting change typically occurs gradually rather than through sudden dramatic shifts. During integration, you might notice yourself responding to situations differently than before, making decisions based on evolved values, or feeling more comfortable with aspects of yourself you previously rejected or suppressed. These changes indicate successful development rather than identity dissolution. Support systems play crucial roles in healthy personal transformation. Trusted friends, family members, mentors, or professional counselors can provide perspective, encouragement, and feedback during change periods. Isolated transformation without reality testing from others can sometimes lead to problematic thinking patterns. Professional support becomes particularly valuable when change feels overwhelming, leads to significant distress, or involves symptoms like persistent anxiety, depression, or disconnection from reality. Therapists trained in developmental and humanistic approaches can provide guidance while ensuring your growth occurs within healthy parameters. The concept of being specially chosen for transformation or having unique cosmic functions often reflects psychological needs for meaning and significance rather than literal truth. While feeling purposeful and connected to something larger than yourself supports well-being, grandiose beliefs about special status can indicate underlying mental health concerns requiring attention. Healthy spiritual development involves recognizing your connection to the broader human experience rather than feeling uniquely selected for extraordinary purposes. This perspective provides meaning while maintaining realistic self-assessment and connection to others. Personal growth that serves both individual well-being and positive social contribution represents the healthiest form of development. Rather than focusing exclusively on personal transformation, balanced growth considers how your changes affect your relationships, community, and broader social responsibilities. The most sustainable personal development occurs within the context of healthy relationships and social engagement rather than through isolated spiritual practices or dramatic identity overhauls. Your growth benefits others most when it enhances your capacity for authentic connection, compassion, and constructive contribution to shared human concerns. Understanding personal transformation through evidence-based psychological frameworks provides practical guidance for navigating change while maintaining mental health and social connection. This approach honors the profound nature of human development without requiring supernatural explanations or potentially concerning dissociation from reality. Your capacity for growth, creativity, and authentic self-expression represents natural human potential that can be developed through conscious effort, supportive relationships, and appropriate professional guidance when needed. This process doesn't require special cosmic status, but rather recognition of the remarkable capabilities inherent in ordinary human consciousness. The urgency sometimes felt around personal transformation often reflects anxiety about change rather than actual time pressure. Healthy development occurs according to your individual pace and circumstances, rather than external deadlines or cosmic windows that require immediate response. Taking time to research, reflect, and seek appropriate support during significant life changes leads to more sustainable and psychologically healthy outcomes than rushing into dramatic transformations based on compelling but potentially misleading information. Approaching personal growth with curiosity, self-compassion, and appropriate caution creates the foundation for meaningful, lasting change that enhances both individual well-being and positive relationships with others. This balanced approach honors the profound nature of human development while maintaining grounding in reality and connection to the broader human community. If you're experiencing significant identity confusion, persistent disconnection from reality, or distressing symptoms that interfere with daily functioning, consider speaking with a mental health professional who can provide personalized assessment and support appropriate to your specific situation. Personal transformation, when approached healthily, enhances your life satisfaction, relationships, and ability to contribute positively to the world. This process deserves respect, patience, and appropriate support rather than rushed decisions based on compelling but potentially problematic frameworks that might compromise your mental health or social connections.